Hello, North Central Washington, and welcome to Networked. If you have ever visited the Wenatchee Valley, then the chances are you have come across Pybus Public Market located along the Columbia River riverfront. The market has grown into a hub for the community to meet, shop, and eat. And today I'm excited to welcome two guests who'll be sharing more on Pybus Market and all it has to offer for our community. I'm your host, Jenny Rojanasatian, and joining me in the studio will be General Manager and Foundation Director Travis Hornby, along with Artisan and Development Manager Jessica Mayo. Don't go too far, we'll be right back here on NCW Life. Hello, North Central Washington, and welcome to Networked. I'm excited to have the Pybus Market team on air with me today. We've got Travis Hornby. You're the market manager?
General manager.
General manager. Okay.
Yes, and foundation director.
And foundation.
Yeah.
Kind of dual hats there.
Dual hats, yes.
And Jessica Mayo, what is your role at the Pybus Market?
Yeah, you almost gave it away.
Yeah.
I'm the artisan manager, so all the day tables inside, and then the farmers market on Saturdays.
Awesome. And it's your first time on TV,
Yes.
on our TV show.
First time.
So
Yeah.
I'm very excited to have you.
Thanks for having us.
Pybus Market, such a cool place. Recently, NCW Tech Alliance moved into your administration building, into the technology incubator.
Oh.
So we've got the benefit of kind of seeing the magic firsthand. But NCW Life, we're airing all across North Central Washington. We know there's a lot of people who've not been down to Pybus, haven't come down into this area. So I want to unpack what the market is, your events.
Sure.
But first, maybe we'll start a little bit with the two of you
Okay.
and your background. And Travis, I'll start with you first.
Sure. So I'm the general manager and foundation director for Pybus Market. And recently, I started in November, so mid-November, so I haven't been there that long. It's a huge honor to be part of this great kind of experiment, basically, but it's been successful. This next April will be 10 years from when it first opened its doors, so that's really exciting. And yeah, we are a charitable nonprofit, as well as there's kind of two parts of it, but all the other is the agriculture nonprofit that runs the market itself.
Okay.
So yeah.
Awesome. Jessica, what about for you? How long have you been a part of the Pybus team?
Yeah, I started working at Pybus the week before the initial COVID shutdown.
Okay.
So March of 2020. So
What
it's
a
been
time to join the
I
team.
know. And I joined to help with events,
Okay.
which there weren't any. So
Right.
yeah, but I think in the last couple of years, even seeing, the tenants rally and recover from that, it's been cool to be a part of. So.
This wasn't on the list, but I do recall the Pybus Foundation did a lot of support for those businesses in the beginning of the pandemic. I think there was some reduced rent, some a lot of support of moving restaurants out into the concourse. Tell us a little bit maybe about why supporting the merchants inside of Pybus has been so important to the board and the foundation. Yeah. Kind of ping to both of you.
Ping to both of
Yeah.
us. Okay, so yeah, there was a lot of shifting in the pandemic, trying to figure out how to survive through that. So we kind of did almost everything we thought we could to make that happen. And there was also a lot of donations that came from the community that helped pay for rent for a lot of the tenants inside, reduced rent from the foundation as well. And you lived it, so anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think it was important. I mean, Pybus Market, I think we try to do a good job of making it feel like, it's not just a place that community meets, but it's a community in and of itself. And so even this idea that if your neighbor is struggling, you help them out. And so I think we really saw the community rally around our tenants. We did, I think April rent was waived the very first year. We had kind of reduced other things. When we were allowed to have an open air market, we were able to kind of rally and figure out how to keep even those businesses open by pushing out. And so I think it was just really, hey, there's no other option. We're going to get through this. So how are we going to?
Well, I think it's really neat because supporting the tenants, some landlords can't do that because they've also got obligations. And I know a lot of them try to be as flexible as they can, but coming from kind of that 501c3, you've got a lot more flexibility to support the business merchants that are there. Let's talk a little bit about Pybus itself and those merchants. Travis, how many different businesses are inside of Pybus?
There are 14 businesses. Did I get that number right,
I
Jessica?
don't know. Yeah. Just say it
I believe there's
confidently.
14 businesses inside of Pybus Market, and then we have a few on the outside that kind of come and go. So we have the cut truck that you can come and get your hair cut, but that's a trailer that moves in and off campus. We also have Little Reds that's outside there that is part of it as well. And then we work with the farmers market that comes twice a week right now. So we have a lot of influx as well that uses the outside.
It's kind of a hub for those early entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
And Jessica, you were talking about you manage the day tables. What? So if you're an artisan or a startup, what does that look like?
Yeah. So we do have a pretty big artisan program. So we have, like, on average, I think 18 different, I would call them small businesses or startups. Not all of them are wanting to, have a storefront at some point, but a few of them are. Okay. And so, I think even giving them the opportunity to be there and to learn how to interact with the community, learn, what works and what doesn't in Wenatchee. It's a good kind of entry point into that.
And tell me, if someone's an artist watching, and they want to come out to Pybus Market on a weekend, what's a general, you don't have to be exact, rate, right? Is it $500 to come out and have a booth?
Oh, like how much does it cost? Yeah, so it costs $40.
Okay, very accessible.
Super accessible. Yeah, the farmer's market is a little different just because it's a little different. It's outside. But artisans, we are trying to keep costs low and a little competitive just because we want people to have an opportunity to do well. We're not trying to take people's money. We're just trying to continue the program and make it better.
So 14 kind of permanent businesses inside of the structure of Pybus with rotating. Some of the tenants inside of the business have changed over the year. Sure. Maybe, Travis, tell us a little bit about the mix of who you have now.
So, we it's kind of interesting to find what that mix actually works and find the magic. And I think we have a really great mix right now of restaurants, tasting rooms, and retail spaces. So you can kind of have the full experience of coming into Pybus Market. And what's really nice about Pybus is this is local businesses. It's not national. We are below market rate for rent. So we allow and encourage the local entrepreneurs to run their businesses here. So that's really exciting too. One of the main reasons I really got excited about this position is because it is a nonprofit. And I'm pretty comfortable in both worlds, meaning for profit. I ran my own business for over 7 years as well as some other adventures, but helped manage a couple of nonprofits when I moved to Wenatchee about 12, 16 years ago, somewhere there.
So tell us, you're talking about the rent is a little bit different to allow that, I guess, support for new businesses. One of the new businesses we just recently had on was Off the Hill. Well, I should say Archibald, James, and Stone Winery, who partnered in this brand new venture in a place where they could team up, because 7 days a week is hard for a new business, right? So they were able to do that. Let's talk a little bit about that, though. 7 days a week. So you've got a mix of businesses, but they're there all week long.
All week long.
Okay.
Yeah. We're closed 3 days out of the whole year. And so, every business is there and they're open every day. And what is really nice about that is when to come. For years, the farmers market bounced around our community. It was tough to find them. And so being permanent, I always call it finding Waldo. You're going to show up if you know where Waldo's at, or when Hellbent's open, or the tap room, or Arlberg's is going to be open to come and rent your bike. So all those things are important when it comes to business. When I ran my business, I saw businesses around me fail because they changed their hours so much, and it was tough. And maybe that wasn't the only thing, but it is difficult if you go to a place wanting to spend your money and they're closed.
Yeah. But this is a shift, because in the early years of Pybus, you're coming on year 10, each business really operated independently, right? So you could come in, say on a Tuesday, and partial businesses would be open or times would vary.
Yeah.
When did that shift happen? And I guess too, like what success are you seeing with going to a 7-day-a-week model?
So yeah, 7-day-a-week model, and that shift happened over the last couple of years. And I think COVID really kind of brought some of that of looking how we can make that happen. And I think sales are up, more consistent. People know, and there is variety of each business that is in there. So if you're a breakfast place and you serve dinner, well, you're open from breakfast to dinner.
Okay.
But if you're a retail space, you're open from retail hours, 11 to 6.
Okay. So each business might have a little variation, but you can come in 7 days a week pretty confidently and access the full suite of Pybus Market. And you can really spend a day there.
Yeah.
Jessica, we have to head to a commercial break for in a minute, but maybe I'll ask, tell us some of your fun experience. If you're going into Pybus on a day off, what are the places you like to stop at and check out?
Yeah, I would say all of them. I think yeah, it's fun. Like even the employees are just fun, like at how they interact with people. I think I would say like currently my favorite is the tap room.
Yes.
Don't tell anybody else.
Right.
Yeah, they have a great like rotating selection of their IPAs. They brew all of their own beers, and so it's just a fun place to hang out with people.
Yeah, and it's nice that you have the variety, that the tap room just came in and now that's an
and
option.
I was at Off the Hill on Friday. You know,
Right.
there's all sorts of different places to be.
And move over. I just went last Friday to McGregor Farms and tried their mead for the first time. The lavender mead was really good. Charms, what about for you? What's maybe a recent place you tasted within the market that was really fun and new?
Fun and new, obviously, is the newest, is Off the Hill.
Yeah.
And we sampled all the ciders, which is great. The flight of ciders is wonderful. It just depends on what you feel like doing that day.
It's
and
true.
what side of the building and the weather. So you have tons of options and variety, outdoor seating at Jones of Washington, and all that whole west side now has outdoor seating that's covered, which is great too.
Yeah,
that's true. Before it was just one side of the building could be outdoors. So Jones didn't really. You can go out there and enjoy
Jones
some wine outside.
And,
Perfect. Well, we're gonna head out to a commercial break, but don't go too far. We'll be right back. Back to Networked. I have been joined by the Pybus Market team talking about this beautiful community asset that we have in downtown Wenatchee, right along the riverfront. Before we left, talking about all the different tenants, activities you can do, but a huge piece of Pybus was to create that permanent home for the farmers market. And Jessica, you've recently kind of taken the lead there. Talk to me about the Wenatchee Farmers Market, what it is, and then also maybe that relationship between Pybus and the farmers market.
Yeah. So the farmers market has been around, I want to say since 79, since the 70s. We'll say that's safer. So it's been around for a long time. They just kind of bounced between locations in Wenatchee, wherever they could find space. And so when Pybus Market opened almost 10 years ago, I think both sides just saw that as this is a perfect spot for a permanent market to augment this other permanent market. So this last, let me think. So we'll have been there for 10 years.
Okay.
I'm trying to think, like we're re-upping our lease. So we're right in that 10-year spot. But yeah, I think even having, Travis was saying, I think during the break, this permanent place where people know where to find farmers. They know where they can get fresh produce on Saturday. We try to keep it very consistent, and even where vendors are located within that outdoor market, so that you don't have to look around. If I need eggs and lettuce. Okay, bam.
These are my two spots. They're always here.
Yep.
And not in the agriculture industry, but I imagine it's just a tough field to be in.
Oh, absolutely.
Our orchardists, our farmers work incredibly hard. And then to have a place that they can bring their produce on the weekend and to make that a little bit easier on them, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And important.
Right, exactly. And to even be able, so this year, we had a late frost like in March. And so everyone's crops were a few weeks behind. And so for Pybus to be able to say, you can look at our website to be able to know whether or not there will be things at the farmers market because they're a few weeks behind, as opposed to, community members didn't know who to ask or where to look for that sort of information before.
Yeah.
And so I think that's helped to be able to have, we're going to say something?
Nope.
To be able to have a central location and kind of source of information. And so I think the markets help each other out.
And that's a different
Absolutely.
nonprofit.
Yeah.
It's an independent entity with its own board. But now through the Pybus team, you're really helping drive that consistency, right?
Yeah, we're just trying to keep it exactly consistent with indoor vendors, outdoor vendors. What does that look like? How can we give as many people an opportunity to help their smaller businesses or their farms thrive?
And what's the seasonality? So when does the farmers market typically run at Pybus?
Yeah, the farmers market typically starts the Saturday after Apple Blossom, and it runs through the end of October.
Right.
So I think this year it was May 14th.
And Saturdays from 9 to...
Saturdays from 8 to 1.
8 to 1,
Yep.
okay.
Little
Now, is
earlier.
there a weekday market as well? Okay.
Yep, we revived our midweek market, so it's Wednesdays. It's from 9 to 1, so a little shorter, much easier parking. It's smaller. We have about 6 to 8 vendors every week, and it's right in the west entrance of our building. So.
And that west entrance, Travis, was redeveloped a few years ago with some grant funding, right? With some beautiful paving. So
so that's the plaza.
the plaza, okay.
Yep. So that's we also have vendors there on Saturdays occasionally.
Okay.
Too.
Oh, that pull into from both sides of the market.
Try to stick them everywhere.
Yeah. To bring a lot of people down.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the plaza is one of the things that's been added to the market over the years. I think from what I've seen, the foundation's really active in grants, trying to grow and expand the work of Pybus. So Travis, maybe talk to me a little bit about all of the additional projects that go on behind the scenes, the support for nonprofits, future expansion. What does that look like from the foundation?
So the Charitable Foundation, its mission is to support nonprofits in our community.
Okay.
So that is the gamut of everything from we have event space, boardroom space for nonprofits to come and do their fundraisers. So at reduced rates from what we would normally charge a for-profit. So that's huge. I think we're close to $50,000 currently in giveaways or reduction of rental space for that. We also do the nonprofit day, which is really exciting. And so that's the other part that most people aren't aware of Pybus Market is the Charitable Foundation. And we're looking at the future growth of it, similar to what we did with that plaza. It was always the dream to redo that west side parking lot. But just redoing the parking lot, maybe there's something else that could be done. And what would that look like? So having more of a permanent structure for the farmers market. Also looking at what else that could be used for, and I think there's an opportunity for growth in arts, so live music and outdoor art shows and things like that could be possible. Basically, there would be a lot of coverings that would cover the west side tenants, permanent structures there, and then a permanent cover of most of the parking lot is kind of what that whole thing looked like. Also covering that historic rail car that used to bring all of the iron from the railroad into the building to get worked on that helped create most of the buildings in Wenatchee.
I love that rail car.
Yeah.
It's like a stage now out in the parking lot. Super cool.
Wouldn't that be cool if that was covered and you could actually roll a stage out there with live music on it?
Absolutely. Well, all that work, I think, towards just entertainment in our valley, obviously COVID just put a big shutdown the last couple of years on the movement because there's so many entities, the PAC, arts programs, First Fridays that have really brought a lot of vibrancy to things like activities, live music, and of course, Pybus Market has been a huge part of that. So that's exciting. That there's like a phase 2.0, 3.0, 4 continuing for the market. Travis, I know you do a big fundraiser or foundation dinner that's coming up in October. Tell us a little bit about that.
So it's called TOP or Taste of Pybus.
Okay.
And
I like that name, Top.
TOP, Taste of Pybus. Do you?
Yeah, do you
I
like
do.
that?
My husband's name is Top, but anyways, okay.
So it wasn't named after him.
I was gonna say it was. us.
I know, right? Exactly.
And that's our largest fundraiser for the year. Part of
Okay.
that fundraiser goes to operations, so we continue to support the nonprofits, but then we're also looking at the future stuff that we want to support the community. So the permanent home for the farmers market, the covered parking lot, redoing it so it's more safe for pedestrians as well. It's pretty rough right now. That's that concrete's really old and cracking, and so regardless, that was always a dream. But then, what's the next phase of what we can do for our community?
And is that a something anyone can come attend? Ticketed event?
It's a ticketed event, and we have, I think, a top out of around 125 participants.
Okay.
And all the money goes to operations and to the future projects to support our community.
Awesome. Well,
That's October 5th.
October 5th. So
Yep.
people should definitely, if they're interested in supporting, check out the fundraiser. But there's, always events happening down there. I think one of those that we wanted to shout out before we left today was the Pybus University,
Yeah.
another educational program. When does Pybus University happen?
So Pybus University happens twice a year,
Okay.
a couple quarters. And basically it's evenings at 7 p.m. on Tuesdays. And we do everything from, we talked about Firewise. We talked about how to brew beer, I think is coming up here this next quarter. Planting, making things in your home. We're also doing some cultural stuff this year. We had the Aloha Fridays. So if you wear an Aloha shirt, you're part of Pybus's Aloha Fridays, which is fun. And then every second Friday of the month, we have a group of hula dancers come down and talk about the culture and those kind of things.
Oh, super cool.
Yeah, and they're also part of Pybus University this year.
Okay.
They're going to give some more information about why the Hawaiian culture is important to our community right now, and growing and rebuilding some of the wounds that have been created during COVID, I think is really important.
That's really cool. And Pybus University, are those ticketed
Nope.
classes? Okay.
Nope. Free
Currently,
public.
they're free. We do ask you to register.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to learn all kinds of different stuff.
Wow. So another just incredible resource because of the foundation
Yep.
and the nonprofit running.
Yep.
Super cool. As we head out, anything, how do people find you? One.
Yeah.
And if they're interested in maybe getting involved in supporting, I know you have some volunteer programs as well. What should be their first steps?
So we have all kinds of ways to get involved. You can
Okay.
become a Pybus partner, which is a monthly donation. You can purchase, you can speak about this, the bricks.
Yeah,
You can get your name
pavers.
indexed,
Oh,
our
okay.
pavers.
Yep.
You can also become part of our ambassador program, which is volunteers that come down, give information to people that are coming in about the market or the history and those kind of things. They'll also help us with, the volunteers help us with Pybus University. So there's all kinds of ways to volunteer, become part of the Pybus family, and support our community.
Yeah. And I think if people want more information, our website is a great source of that. It's just pybuspublicmarket.org. So we have all of our events up there and upcoming activities. And then honestly, 5 days a week, we have what we call an ambassador, who's one of our volunteers who sits out at the info booth. And they love to talk to people and give all sorts of information. So that's always a good option if people would rather have a face-to-face interaction.
So
Since
multiple ways.
1999, NCW Tech Alliance has served as our regional hub for technology innovation. As a 501c3, their nonprofit mission is to connect people and technology resources to create a thriving community. You can network with the team and guests from today's show by visiting them at www.ncwtech.org.